This tutorial is going to walk you through the process of documenting and submitting your hours in Workday. Except for those working in the Writing Center for service or course release, Workday allows all Writing Center staff to document and report our hours to payroll. So once you log into Workday, you're going to see Workday apps kind of like these. And to enter your hours, you're going to choose the app for time, which then calls up this screen. So if you're reporting on last week's hours, you're going to be clicking on this box. And then if you're reporting on this week's hours, you're going to click on this box. So you'll see that last week's hours for me have already been submitted because they're noted here. So I'm going to be going ahead and submitting my hours for this week. Okay, so say I've worked in the Truax Writing Center from 10 until 2 on Tuesday. I click once on Tuesday and then the enter time screen opens. You don't necessarily have to be exactly at 10 a.m., but you do have to be on Tuesday, the column of Tuesday. So here's your entry time window. When you look at the time type, you're going to click over on the time entry codes, and you're going to choose that top option of hours worked. And then for in, you're going to be putting the starting time of your work, and then for the out, you're going to be putting the ending time of your work. And that's it for the top part. So you'll see that your hours have totaled here, and then you're going to be moving on to details. So there's 3 sections within the details that we need you to fill out, and that's location, fund, and program. So for location, you're going to be choosing the place where you actually are working. Now Truax has several options. What we're going to be just choosing if you do work at Truax is Truax main building. But if you work at South Campus, obviously you're picking South. If you're working at Reedsburg, pick Reedsburg, and so on. If you're working in the online writing center, please go ahead and also choose the Truax main building. For fund, you're going to be going ahead, clicking on funds, and we are fortunate enough to have the general fund right at the top. So you'll go ahead and click general fund. And then for program, you're going to go ahead and type writing center. That's probably the easiest way to find it. And it automatically calls that up. And then you can just click tab, and then those 3 are now filled out. So now you have your top information filled out as well as the 3 details. You'll also notice that we have a comment box. The only time you really need to fill out the comment box is if your hours are slightly different than normal. So say you've added a shift, you're covering someone, or something along those lines. You can certainly make the comment in here as to why your weekly hours are a little bit different, and why you're inputting these hours that are just outside of your normal week load. Okay, so once that information is created, then you can go ahead and click OK, and you've actually then entered the time. You haven't submitted yet, but you have entered the time that you've worked. And then go ahead and add the additional windows of time that you've worked by following that same process, whether it be later in the day, on that same day, or a following day. Once all of your hours have been recorded, you're going to see them up here in the corner. So just make sure that number matches the number of hours you actually worked. And then once you've confirmed that, you'll need to click Submit, Submit, Done. Without going through all 3 of those clicks, the hours will not get submitted, and unfortunately, you won't be able to be paid. I've certainly been caught on that one, so just remember Submit, Submit, Done, or if this is easier, do green, green, orange. Just so you know also that your hours are not set in stone. Even though you have submitted them, you can modify them as you need to. So say, for example, you've already gone through submission and you're like, oh, crud, I didn't work 10 to 2, I worked 10 to 3. You can actually go in and change those hours. You'll have to click OK again when you change them, and then you will have to submit, and then click done again as well. So those new hours are recorded and not the old ones. So one trick you can use to be more efficient with your time entry is by using autofill. And here's how that works. So if you go to the Enter Time button, there is an option that says autofill from prior week. Obviously, you have to have a prior week of hours that have been submitted in order to use this feature. But if you have, go ahead and click autofill from prior week. You can choose a previous week that you've submitted hours to, and then if you click this box here, it will also copy the details and comments from that week as well. So once you click that, you can click OK, and then everything has been filled out. Again, it hasn't been submitted, but all of the detail information has been filled out. And if there are some modifications that you need to make, you can certainly do that as well. Okay, so once you click OK, you'll do your submit done again, and you have kind of used a shortcut in order to enter your time. So that's it. If you have questions about Workday, there are some helpful documents found in Tutors Lounge under our Administrative Resources tab. That are called Workday Guides. You're welcome to take a look at those PDFs, or of course feel free to watch this tutorial again.